Okay, we're on there. We're on Facebook. Hi, Facebook.
Awesome. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Expanded View, episode 15, today on January the 4th, 2021. Wow. Thank you so much for being here, everyone who's watching now live or later. Hello, Kimberly.
Hi, how are you today?
Good. How are you doing?
Good.
Awesome.
Good.
So, new year, new beginnings. What's going on? What do we want to talk about today?
I don't know. What can we talk about? The new year. Really our new year's not going to quite start yet, even though we had that big Saturn and Jupiter conjunct and everybody was going, oh, it's the age of Aquarius. It was at that 0 point, Aquarius.
Yeah.
And it's the taste of moving into that, because that Saturn and Jupiter are still together. Saturn's structure and Jupiter is expansion. So it's still that, how are you going to take your foundation and utilize? That's the best way to use it. And how can you use the expansion, or there's still going to be conflict. And with all of the different stuff that's happening in the stars, we're really not out of the energy and into our new year. We're really totally not clear of it till March, but not to be a negative Nelly right now, but it's like, it's a taste of it. It's like, okay. And, I was talking to another astrologer friend about it, and she said, what do you think this is that everybody, like even the regular mundane world got all excited about this? It's like somebody wrote an article on Huffington Post and everybody was like, oh, it's the age of Aquarius.
Yeah, exactly.
Honestly, I think it's a song somewhere in their mind that they remember, and it gives them a spark of hope.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And so wherever that is, if that's when it sparks the hope within inside of us, then that's the energy to connect to. Because if we can come, they just showed it to me like a needle, and to keep threading that needle through that spark, like the needle is the hope, and to just keep taking the thread through that portal of what it's going to go out to. And that's always coming back to our center point, to what it is that we're bringing in, and to rethread it through that. So that just come in, whatever that's for.
Well, and right now I think a lot of people are looking for hope, right? So like, after last year was a shit year. So, we're all looking for something new, something positive. It doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to be all great, but we're hopeful that it's going to be at least a little bit better than last year.
Right.
A little bit better than last year. So
yeah. So it's take it one step at a time.
Absolutely. Day by day.
That's the place that we can hold the energy at. Because I think when we get out there too far, then it feels like, where's the footing, and I'm not sure anymore. And so this energy that we're in of testing it out, it's kind of like, do one step at a time. That structure that we've already created, and then it's like one step at a time with expansion, and then the next expansion and the next expansion. So that's where we're still at with all of it. We've not quite went into, the world's still a shit show. It's still showing.
Exactly. And so it is
still, it's like, it's still showing itself right now.
But that's the thing. It's like, it's still about being present with what is, with who you are and what is. And, not having like really high extreme expectations, being a little bit realistic that, when things change, they take time, right? So being present with who you are, where you are right now, but at the same time, having that hopeful expectation of something moving forward in a good way, in a positive way, in a way that you would like. But it won't be like a big drastic change right away, for sure.
No.
Right?
Yeah, it's not going to be that we're just going to go boom, and then I don't know, maybe it can be, we can step out. Oh, I watched, speaking of that, on New Year's Day, I watched the Soul movie that Pixar
me
just
too.
did.
Yeah.
I watched it with my granddaughter. Yeah, because I had her on New Year's morning, and she was watching different little cartoons, and I
Yeah.
went, "Oh, you all have Disney Channel? Wait a minute," because I was going to buy it just to have so I could watch it. And I was like, "We're going to watch what Gaga wants to watch. We're going to watch cartoons. We're going to watch what I want to watch."
I watched it with my daughter, and it's like it was good. It was different. It was like, wow, this is interesting, that they're
Well, I
putting this
thought it
out.
was really. I think that if you're questioning anything in anything in your world, then take a moment and sit down and watch the movie.
Yeah. It's
Because
definitely worth watching for sure.
it
Absolutely. I'm glad
is.
you
And
mentioned it because I've totally forgotten.
yeah, it's like, and somewhere in it, it's like the whole, I don't want to be a spoiler on it, but there is that, the whole thing is a reflection of his life,
Yeah.
and what that is, and that whole basically rat race that we create ourselves looking for our purpose. And
Yeah.
it's about being.
It's about being, just
It's
being
about
and
being. So
being
it's
and living,
right,
and
being that spark of hope for just 1
yeah.
second for someone else, and you don't even know you were that spark of hope for them.
Yeah. Spark of
You know?
hope, spark of joy, spark of love, whatever it happens to be. But yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. And we can be that for everybody, you know?
Inspiration. It's that
Yeah.
spark of inspiration. Yeah.
And hopefully that's what we're being right now for people who are watching, whether they're watching live or later. Hopefully that's what we're being right now for them as well, right?
Yes. And if Disney would like to sponsor us, we're totally open to that.
Absolutely. Yeah. I can do a full-on review of that movie. Absolutely, no problem. I can do that.
Exactly. We can do that. On the tomato meter, it's like, yeah, go see it. It's like, set it home in your own comfort. And it's like, there was a part that it's like, oh, I wish I was watching this on the big screen, because of the,
Mm,
they
hmm.
did such a good job on the
Yeah.
animation and everything with it too.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, we watched it on the computer, the bigger monitor. So, it was pretty good, on that
Yeah,
big
yeah.
screen. But yeah, it's definitely worth, watching, thinking about, and then looking at your own life where you are, looking for purpose, looking for this, looking for that, instead of just living and enjoying life in the moment. It's in the moments that you find joy. It's not, some big thing, but it's in the moments. Like, like sometimes when I'm just walking outside with Neo and it's a beautiful day, especially when there's sun, it's like, oh, beautiful. I love it. Sometimes it's like total stillness, not even like a bird chirping. It's like so peaceful and so quiet. And you can really, connect to the nature in that moment. And it's like, wow, this is like unbelievable how quiet it is. So those moments, when you put them all together, they become like a lot of different things that you can be grateful for, that you can appreciate, that you can feel joy in and feel connected in, to spirit, God, creator, source, nature, whatever you want to, use that as. But it's not about looking for purpose. It's about living your joy, right? Living in joy and living as, whatever feels good to you. That's the purpose. That's it. Everything else is all ego based.
Yeah. When we were watching it, and then a couple times when I asked her, because she's 3, so it's like, what does she still remember? And she got I noticed that she got more excited when he went through the great before,
Hmm.
and of course there was all those little cutesy things bouncing around and the energy that, and she was like watching those, and I was like, do you remember being in the great before you came here to be with mommy and to be with Gaga? And she went like this and said yes, but honestly I didn't know that she was saying yes, because she knew I wanted her to remember that part, because I was like waiting for her to tell me about it.
Yeah, yeah.
And I wasn't really sure at that moment if I was projecting, but
And maybe she
I,
can't really explain it with the,
right, but she gave me a spark of hope, and I said, well, when your mommy was your age, she remembered things like that. She told me things, and she was like, really? And I was like, yeah, it's okay for you to remember. And I was like, your mommy remembers everything. And so, because that's really what really, I thought that was my purpose,
mm,
because my daughter was, 4, and I realized at 4 she could see auras, and that she was seeing. And so I thought, oh, well, I have this magical child. So my purpose is to get my hands on everything I can. So if she has a question, I have an answer for her.
right.
Well, she didn't have any questions, because it was her in the moment of life and living, and I was waiting because I was like ready. And that took me on my odyssey of, all of the things that I use now in my
So
toolbox.
she was the spark of inspiration for you. She was a catalyst
Yeah,
for your transformation and for your awakening.
right, exactly. So we don't ever know what that is. And then when she intentionally turned everything off later, preteen, that age,
Mhm.
and then I was so disappointed because I had this playmate that could play with me. And then I realized that maybe she was done with that role,
Yeah,
that it was like, I was so disappointed. It was like, because as a mother, we think it's all our fault.
of
And I was
course.
still at that stage that I thought that.
Yeah.
I don't think that anymore, but I did then. And I was like, oh, what did I do that made her turn off everything? And then I like realized maybe it was just that was for you, that she played the role that she did until, why for 12 years I studied everything I could get my
Hmm.
hands on.
Hmm.
Yeah. How
And
many
that's the
of us?
thing, it's like
Yeah,
looking at your life and looking at what role am I playing that I don't have to anymore,
exactly.
So
And that's big with this energy right now. It's like closing the back door. The Saturn is the Lord of karma, if you want to call it that, which gets a bad rap, but it's that role. And when it's been closed and the structure and our accumulated knowledge with that expansion in Jupiter and that 0 point that we went through with the Aquarian energy, which is the futuristic energy. So it's like, how do you take those two, wrap a ribbon around them and take them into the future?
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And like I think we're all looking at that right now, right? We're all reflecting on our lives, reflecting on our paths, reflecting on, where we're going and what we want to do and be and experience and have, etc. And there was, I've like looked at one of my roles, like, yeah, you know what? I'm done with that. It's like if people, I'm not going to carry people per se anymore. Like
Mm-hmm.
if they choose something, awesome. I'm great. I'm happy for them. I'm so grateful for them. I'm there to support them in any way that I can. And then once they choose something different, I let them go. It's like, okay, cool, awesome, thank you. You
Right.
know?
I think that's because I think that's one of the big energies that are coming up when I said what, closing the back door. It's like, what have you left open and what's the time to close the back door? Because that's what came up, a thing that came up for me. There was a 21-year cycle that was, a reflection of and a door close it. And I had the wildest experience. And it's that what I saw, because Saturn, I think sometimes holds us in that, what do we do from guilt?
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
it's that pattern. And when do we close that? And, I used to be a massage therapist and I don't do that anymore and I haven't for a while. And I had a few clients when I would come back here, they would be waiting for me. There's 1,000 massage therapists they could go to, but they would always, and then they would call me and almost like guilt me. When are you coming back? I'm hurting. When are you coming back? And so there was a couple of people that I still did that with. And um, they're not they're not people that they don't understand energy work. Okay, so they're not
Mm-hmm.
people of a higher, they don't understand what I'm doing. They know something different happens than it happens with just any massage therapist, but they have no awareness of any of that. And I just like them. They're just good people. And I don't know, I was still helping them. And so this moment, the day before Christmas, she's one of the only people that I still have done this with. She's like in her 70s. She used to be a school bus driver, she's just a good lady. And anyway, I really did not want to do that day. And I thought, I've got to stop this with her. Okay. I was totally aware I needed to stop this. And and I kind of had a headache and I was trying to make an excuse. Come in here. This is how we can like, well, that was clear some way. When she sat on the edge, she plopped down on the edge of the table. And when she did, it was like this noise happened. And I like turned around and like, are you okay? She said, yeah, the table just kind of went out from under me. The leg of the table was sticking up. It was broken.
Oh
And I
no.
was like, oh, that's broke. Don't sit back down on that. And the where those legs, they fold, and they
Yeah.
go together. So there's a pin there,
Yeah.
that bolt. It broke it. It broke the bolt. And when I went to like look, that bolt's there and its washer thing has a sheath on it. So I
Hmm.
guess so that really fortifies that. I've never seen anything like that before. And it like broke. And I was like, I went, well, no massage today.
I
Bye.
guess not. I guess you're done with that.
And she was like, trying to fix it for me. And I was like, no, that's okay. That's okay. Just leave it. I'll take care of it. And I just was like, was so interested because I knew clearly it was like, shut that back door. Don't leave it open anymore. It's like you have moved so far past that for so many years. Like, why did you go back to that when you came back here? Back
Hmm.
from where I was at, where it started at. And so it was actually an extra table that I had bought for traveling and stuff like that. And the person I bought it from is a friend, client slash whatever. And she private messaged me about something else. And I was like, oh, I was just thinking about you. When did you, because she closed a health food store and I bought the table. When did you close that store? And I heard this was a close of this cycle. And it was exactly, I mean, she was like December the 31st, 1999. And I did it on an intentional date with intentional timing to close out
Hmm.
a thing for me because she's an astrologer. And it was like, I knew it was a closure of a 21-year cycle.
There you go.
Like, so the symbolism and what we can do with our mind, that I was like, poop, that's done. And then I got tickled because I was watching it and it was like, oh, I don't even have to feel guilty about that. I don't want to do massage on her. The table's broke now. It's like done. And it
Done.
was just, so it's that we can have, I mean, those kinds, when something's really done and it's time for that door to close, it can be like
Yeah.
that fast and that extreme.
And but
I
so
was just glad she
sometimes,
wasn't hurt,
yeah,
you
I
know?
know. Yeah, thank goodness. And sometimes we have to choose, but sometimes spirit will choose for us, right? When we've been
Right.
dragging our feet for a while, and it's like, you know what? Spirit's gonna say, you know what? We're done with
Only
this.
thing helped me really in that relationship was that I didn't want to feel guilty when she felt bad, that when she called me and say, but nobody else fixes this but you.
Hmm.
And I didn't need that feedback anymore. I didn't need that part.
Yeah.
I was done with that. But the part that I didn't want her to be in pain.
Hmm.
And it's like, go find somebody else that can help you, you
Yeah, and
know?
that's not your responsibility either, right? So
No, exactly.
so what are we taking on as our responsibility that isn't,
Yeah. Because
right?
I gave her suggestions, and when she would come back, she never did any of the stuff in between that I told her,
Hmm.
you know? And it was like, okay, you're in the same exact place that you were when you were here
Yeah.
2 weeks ago. And it's like, what did you do in between?
Yeah.
I told her a zillion times to go to the chiropractor and get adjusted, that it was coming from her neck and where it was coming from. And so it's like, okay. But anyway, the whole story is that, yeah, those are the kinds of things. So you be maybe noticing things like that's a cycle, and because sometimes we think maybe if some of this is just, oh, too out there, but when you see it like that in front of you and
Yeah.
it's so obvious.
But and that's the thing, things are going to come into your awareness now about letting go, about,
Hmm.
like especially those things about feeling guilty,
Right.
feeling like you're not good enough, or feeling you have to prove yourself, or you have to be, kind at your expense. You don't have to do that anymore. Those are old paradigms that are no longer working and are not sustainable in the future going forward, right?
Right.
And so now it really is about, okay, what works for me? What works for me? Because when you put yourself first and say what works for me, that other person will eventually find what works for them.
Exactly.
You've become like a crutch, for them. But when you're no longer available to fulfill that role, they will find somebody else to fulfill that role. If they're not,
Right.
if they still need that role, but from somebody, they will find
Right.
somebody else, right?
Yeah.
So it's up to us to say, all right, I'm letting that go. I'm no longer playing that game anymore. I'm playing that role anymore. What else would work for me now? So, it's like those, they're really subtle sometimes, And you may not even notice it right away until it's like happened, and it's like, oh yeah, okay, interesting. I didn't realize I was playing that role, but I guess I was for so long. But now I'm willing to let that go. Now it's no longer important. It's no longer coming from a fear-based, energy,
Or
right?
guilt, that guilt energy. Yeah.
Yeah, that guilt, the fear, the not being good enough, the having to prove yourself, and to be the savior, like saving everybody.
Right. That martyr energy somewhere.
Yeah, so we
So
don't need
yeah,
that
so that's the
anymore.
kind of awarenesses we maybe have during this time period,
Yeah.
of the energies that we're in right now. Because so how do you take that and use it for your opportunity in the expansion? And when one of those doors closes, when that back door closes, then there's a door in front that's going to open.
Yeah.
It's like there'll be another opportunity that's been waiting. It didn't even have room to come in.
Hmm.
And it's like now it can come in. And
Yeah.
it's like, yeah, what's yours will come back around and it'll be there for you. So
And
so
not,
that may
and
be the
it's and
reflection of energies.
yeah, and not just that, it's about, when you let go of those old energies, you automatically start to raise your vibration, your frequency changes,
Exactly.
right? And so then when
Right.
your frequency changes, your vibration changes, then you are becoming a match for something different. And that's what everybody wants. Is like, I want to be a match for this and that and whatever. Awesome. But first you got to let go of the other older energies that you've been holding on to, right?
Right. Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's what the opportunity for me has been. And I've had some of those um reflections to get to witness that in
Hmm.
this last week
Yeah.
of that, of that still being the people pleaser, caretaker, whatever it is.
Yeah.
And that these, people have came back through and gave me opportunity to look
Yeah.
at this. And I'm like so
Exactly.
aware of it in the moment. It's
And
like it,
and it's not that you don't care, like we care,
oh,
and that's the
right.
thing, we care so deeply. That's why we stick to certain patterns for so long, because we care so deeply. But now it's about that caring has become more of a burden than anything else. And so it's no longer serving you. Instead, it's become more of a hindrance, right? Holding you back, keeping you stuck, keeping your energy shrunk, and not at the vibration frequency that you would like. And so, I mean, I'm noticing that too with myself, with my clients, with my speakers for the show. It's like, yeah, like and it's not that I don't care. I care a lot, but it's more about, I'm just not holding on to that energy anymore.
Yeah.
I'm just not. If somebody chooses something, awesome, great. If they don't choose it, awesome, great. Next, keep moving, right? And
Yeah.
so that energy of awesome, great, regardless of what people are choosing, gives you kind of like allows you to breathe more freely, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then you can just be you and do your thing, because we're not at the, at the expense of other people or other situations. It's like, okay, cool. You choose this, great. You don't choose this, great. I'm still doing doing my thing, living my life. But the energy is becoming more expanded, and that's what we're talking about here, the expanded view, right? And then it's about how can your energy become more expanded now in this new era or age of expansion, which is going to take time. It's going to be step by step, millimeter by millimeter kind of a thing. And as much as I've been in fear the past while,
Yeah.
right? I've been in fear, but at the same time, I've also been in witnessing and just watching and, saying, all right, what's going on? What's next? What's next? And that sense of surrender, even to, I can't control anything. So it's like, all right, I'm just going to surrender to it, and whatever will be, right? And that gives you, again, more expansion, because you're not contracting your energy. You're surrendering, but when you surrender, it's kind of like an expansion. It's like kind of like a breath of fresh air when you surrender. I didn't get this for the longest time, you know. I didn't get this for the longest time. I didn't get it. I hated the word surrender, blah blah blah, right? But now it's like, when you surrender, it's like a weight gets lifted and you just expand even more. You can breathe more easily and more freely. And so surrendering does not mean giving up. God knows I'm not a giver upper, right? Or no, I guess not. But it is about allowing, you know, whatever is to be, and then seeing what unfolds from that, right?
Mm-hmm. Right. It's more of that place of not so attached to exactly how the gift comes,
Yeah.
you know, whatever it is.
Yeah, exactly. Allowing it to come however it's going to, and then being willing to receive it.
Yeah, it's like a new moment of creation in some way. You know, we've talked about that before, and I can't give credit. I didn't come up with this. I heard it this week, and I don't know where where who said it. And they were repeating somebody else anyway. I do remember that.
There is
But that
nothing new in the world, so everything
right
is
when we
being
were, you know, we've
repeated.
talked about creation. Are you reacting or responding?
Yeah.
And then that the word creation and the word reaction are the same letters. They're just changed
Oh yeah.
around.
Oh yeah. Never thought of that.
And so it's that where are we when we surrender, really we're in the moment of new creation, and you know,
Mm,
instead of reaction,
yeah.
because it's like there's a part that when we surrender, then there's that pause, and
Exactly.
the creation can
Yeah.
receive.
Can come in and give us new energies, new insights, just whatever, new once we surrender, because otherwise we're like a cup that's full, you know, of tea or water or whatever, and there's no room for more, right? So
Right.
it, you know, so it's like once we surrender, it's like we open up to more, you know.
Hmm.
And it's hard. I mean, I'm 53. I think my daughter said that I'm going to be 53 or something. And then and I'm like, I have not ever surrendered until now, you know. Now after, you know, with my husband in the hospital, now I surrendered. And it's like, all right, I get it. I get it. I get it now. Finally, you know. So I was one of those, you know, diehard control freaks. I'm in control of everything and I have to, you know, do everything and blah blah blah. But no. Now it's like, all right, cool. Be an allowance. And allowance truly does not mean, again, not giving up, not caring, but it's allowing the situation to unfold organically, right? And with ease, you know. So as long as, you know, like I always have the intention of, all right, I want ease in my life. Ease, come on, let's have ease, more ease, please. Right. And so when you have that intention of ease, then that's what you're going to get once you surrender and allow and be just in that state of allowance. And it's like, all right, cool, universe, I know you got my back, because I mean, like, let's face it, you know. So it's like trusting, right? And again, all these seem like buzzwords, right? This is what everybody says. But when you actually get into that experience of trust, the experience of surrender, the experience of allowance, it changes you. And
It
then that's
does.
what changes your life.
Right. There's that moment of change. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So please don't think that we're just talking empty words here. These are not empty words anymore for me. Maybe they were in the past, but now they're like, these words are filled with truth and honesty and integrity and like knowing, you know, like real true experiential knowing of what that means. And you know, and again, that's a gift and blessing, you know, of its own for me, you know, that the gift of being able to trust, the gift of being able to surrender, the gift and blessing of being an allowance, and, you know, allowing the universe to flow through me and around me and seeing how it unfolds. That's a gift. It takes you out of your head. It takes you out of, you know, control and force, you know. And so it's like it's a big shift and a big change. And so, you know, watching that and seeing, okay, what's gonna show up? I have no idea, but I'm open to whatever it is going to be. And then I will respond to how it's showing up. Not react, then I will respond to how things show up.
Right. And from that response, then that you can create next, you know, when that reaction is over here, then there's a place for that. What will the creation be? It's like that. I see that needle again. The thread can go through you. And then what will you know, what will you sew in? It's like what will be there within the tapestry.
Yeah.
If there's a new piece to come in, it's like when we can step back and breathe and know that there is actually a new piece to come in. And sometimes, it's like when we're in those great big challenges in life, it's not easy.
It's not
It's
easy.
like it's not easy when we go through those great big ones.
No, it's not easy. But the thing is, you know, like, you know, I received so much support from, you know, my family, my friends, my colleagues, you know, my clients, my communities, so much support. And it's still, not baffles me per se, but I'm like, I'm still so grateful for all of that support. I wasn't expecting it like that at all, you know. So it's like, you know, it's like it showed me how really kind and generous and caring and loving people are in my life, you know.
Hmm.
And some people I didn't even know or I haven't even talked to in years, you know, but it's like, but they showed up
Gives you
when,
hope for humanity. It's like
right?
when you see the inspiration, and it's like it inspires us to have hope for humanity.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. And so I'm like so grateful, and that alone has changed my whole outlook on so much, you know. And you know, I know regardless of what a lot of people say, I know that this is a good place, a good, you know, the universe has your back. Humanity, there's so much goodness and kindness, you know, in humanity that's available for all of us. And you know, there's so much love that's available for us. Are we willing to actually ask for it? Ask for the support, ask for the
Yeah,
help.
it's like
Are we,
dialing into that, because all of the realities are real, and it's like, where do you choose for your mind to be what, what is the frequency that you choose for your mind to be dialed into? Then
yeah.
you'll start embodying that, because like you said a while ago, there's a part where we're in a place of consciousness that it's an understanding. First we don't even have an understanding, then we have an understanding of it. And then that, when it's like the knowing, it's like that's when we embody it, and it becomes wisdom when it goes through
Hmm.
that compassion through your heart. Then it's the wisdom and the medicine that you carry.
Yeah, absolutely. And that is what then radiates out of you when you're living and working in the world. You know,
Right.
that trust, that surrender, that allowance, that faith, that hope, that connection to spirit, you know, etc. When you have that true wisdom and that experience of it, that is what is shining out from you. And I think that's you know, it's no longer empty words, it's no longer just buzzwords, it's you know, it's the truth, and it flows through you because you've experienced it, now you know it, you know. And
Hmm.
that's the thing, it's like this experience, as awful as it has been, you know, it's been such a gift. You know, it's been such a gift for me. And it's like, but I wouldn't want to do it again, thank you God, but let's keep moving forward and in the right way here, you know. But I'm grateful. I have no, I'm not angry at God or anything like that, you know. It's like I'm just so grateful for it. It's a blessing. It's a blessing in disguise, and it's, you know, something that when my husband is able to really communicate and talk, you know, I'll be able to share it with him. You know, he's not quite there yet, right? I'll be able to share it with him, and whether he gets it or not, that's another story. But I think he will,
Yeah, you got to
eventually.
surrender that one too, because you know what experience is all he's going through right now.
Yeah, yeah, he's
If
going through
that's
all sorts of different
Yeah, the
experiences.
magic that he may have to share with you. Um, I know you've probably heard and watched in through time that what's her Jill Bolton, is that her last name?
Jill
You
Bolt,
talk about,
yeah.
yeah.
A Stroke of Insight. I had that book. I bought it years ago. It's in Canada, but it was an amazing book. I never thought that I would, you know, have to be so close to that now. But you know, I had bought that book years ago,
Her
and
insights are amazing, and everything that
yep, I might have to get
what
it again now.
yeah.
It was really good.
She's on TED Talks too. I mean, you
Mm.
could, I'm sure there's all kinds of YouTube interviews with her that you could, but what she brought in with that and the insight of that, and just that whole, I mean, she felt the right, left brain, everything shifting in the what she went through with all of the
Yeah,
expansion.
yeah,
So yeah.
yeah. No, I know that was an amazing story. Wow. But so, you know, you never know what Robert might come up with, you know, at the end of it. You know, it's like, who knows? We'll see. Yeah. I'm just open to it, as long as he continues to get better and better and better, 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 better. It's all good. All right. So we've been talking, talking, talking. So I want people to really get that this is a wonderful time. It is a, you know, an exciting time for all of us. It always is. And that's the thing. It always is, because we always say this, it's an exciting time. It's a powerful time. It always is, if you're willing to take advantage of it. Meaning if you're willing to tap into, you know, you being present in this moment. It's not going to be about you thinking about only in the future of stuff, and it's not going to be about you focusing on the past, but right now, right here, tapping into the energy of now, focusing on that, and then choosing for yourself, all right, what works for me now and what doesn't. So, what
Yeah,
can I let go of that, and just by saying, okay, what doesn't work for me, that, okay, well, then I'm letting that go now. And as soon as you make that choice and that declaration, a part of that energy has left you. But of course, if you keep, doing the same things you've always done, it's going to come back. But that's just a pattern. And then you can again say, nope, I'm done with that. I'm choosing something else. I'm focusing
yeah,
on this
what's the
now.
new, yeah, the new to be, the new creation that's here when we're open to be receptive to that.
And
Because we're
it's all up
always,
to us. It
yeah,
really is all up to
when we're
us.
transforming, that energy that we're here to do that. I mean, that's what the soul's here for. That's what it's doing. It's going through those experiences to transcend whatever that is into the next experience.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Every, your experiences can be more enlightening for you, more, you can get greater awakened perspectives if you're willing to look for them, and if you're willing to reach out for them, and like, and really get out of your comfort zone and say, okay, what else is possible here for me?
That's
You
it.
know?
When you do that, when you go to that, what else is possible? That energy, then you'll be shown. It's like
Yeah.
every time that you go into that, when I was living like from moment to moment, when I was doing my gypsy life,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I
and I wouldn't
remember.
know where I was going to be the next day, because I was like, and the universe was totally supporting me. And it was like about me learning that, to really understand that. And there was always somebody going to India, and always somebody needed their cat set. And it would be Thursday. I would have no idea where I was going. And I'll go, okay, creator, this or something better. And somebody would call me and I would be off to the next place. And I never knew, what that was going to unfold. And it was amazing. I
Mm-hmm.
lived in
Mm-hmm.
all of these houses that I didn't have to be responsible for. I just got to enjoy them. And it's like that kind of magic can happen if you, and I was really staying in that this or something better energy.
Yeah.
And to remember to do that, when we get complacent again. I was just having a conversation with a friend about that yesterday. When we've lived in those expanded states like that, and then we come back to some kind of place of complacency, I was like, what is that about? I thought when I got to that level, you don't go back to this, but we contract sometimes. There's
Sure.
a contraction that happens before the new birth.
Yeah, always, and that's normal. But and that's the thing, is like being aware of the contraction, knowing that you're contracting now, but that because you're going to expand into something greater,
Yeah,
instead of judging yourself for contracting.
right. If you just kept breathing in, you would just like blow up. It's like it's going to be this
Yeah.
flow
Yeah.
with it.
Yeah, breathe in, breathe out, breathe in, breathe out,
Yeah.
absolutely. And that's the thing, again, it's about being present in the body, being present in the here and now. Yes, we do have to, because we live in this 3D reality. It's always going to be a 3D 5D reality here. So as long as we are in this, we are going to want to think about the future, right? But yes, be grateful and accept where you are now, and then plan for the future. Absolutely, you cannot plan for the future. You have to plan a little bit. I plan like 3 months. That's about it, right? So you can plan a little bit, but don't just stay in the future all the time. Be present in the now as you're creating your future, right?
Yeah.
I mean, some of us, we do have to plan, because like my show goes from January to the end of April, so it's like I'm planning until the end of April right now. That's it. I don't have anything else beyond that, right? But I'm living in the present. I'm living in the here and now, today. And appreciating and creating today as I'm creating the future at the same time, right? So yes, you have to do both, people, both. All right, so whew, what's going on? So I know for myself, I have my inner circle membership call in 20 minutes. And then I have the next season, the winter spring season of the Awaken to Happiness Now Global Masterclass starting tomorrow. It's like, oh my God, how'd that happen so fast? It's like, yep, starting tomorrow. So we'll be doing our live shows again every day not every day, but Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and some other days, who knows. but I'm looking forward to that with some new speakers, some regular speakers and guests, and some, so much fun, always so much fun. So I'm looking forward to that. And Kimberly's going to be on the show at some point, probably
I
in
know, I
March.
just wrote it down. So speaking of planning, you sent me those dates this because the first time around I was like in a place of I don't know what I'm doing with my future.
Yeah,
And
right.
then for 2 weeks I kept trying to find that email from you. And it's so funny today. I just got, well, just ask her for the dates again. Why do you keep like going back and looking for this? So I just wrote myself down January the 14th.
Okay,
I
cool.
wrote myself down, so I'll send stuff to you. So
Okay.
I took that date. So that's planning. I went on right now in this moment, put it on my calendar. So it's right here.
Yeah, see, so even us, we also do some planning in advance, for
Exactly. I did it. See, it was open. That one date in January was sitting and waiting for me.
exactly. Exactly. Awesome. I will go afterwards and put it in my calendar as well.
So we're going
Awesome.
to do that. And yeah, I've been just creating for my programs and where I'm going with my different platform, and what I'm doing with my membership, because that's mostly, right now where my focus is, because I love working in the groups and bringing in. And I've been looking at that, like, because I still have this thing about creating a mystery school, and that's always been there. And it's like, okay, I just need to go on and do it. So maybe when I do it, then I'm finished. It won't like being out there somewhere, because I tend to put it to the side. So I've been on these astrology binges lately. I'm finally going to come out of the closet and be a real astrologer. I realize
Yay.
astrologers, you're a student your whole life of that. And
Yeah.
I
Just like
always
shamanism.
deny it, but then it seems to always just come out. Hey, I did it. This wanted to be painted. This is when I was sitting here, not before last, and it was like late. I was ready to go to bed, and I heard White Buffalo Woman wants to be painted, and so I painted her.
Nice.
And so that's
Awesome.
what's happening with me. And
trying
then
not to talk.
the Jupiter Saturn, you can't see that, but that's the conjunct, and Green Man came in that day. So I've got whatever this is, and I'm going to do something with this art. It's like, I'm going to create a deck of cards with the art.
Yeah.
So because somebody said, why do you think they came? And I thought, because they're going to be in the cards and they're like already coming in. So when it's time for that, it's already going to be done. And then I'm come up and go, oh, here this is. It's already finished.
Good. Awesome. I love it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Good. Oh my goodness. There's always so much, right? It's like, you have your membership. I have my membership. I have my higher dimension healing intensive, which for January starts tomorrow, as well as the Awaken Happiness Now. But it's like, right now for me, that's all I can manage. I can't do anything more, because with my husband in the hospital and all that stuff.
You've got enough on your plate.
It's like I have enough on my plate. So it's like later on, when all that's settled, then then we'll create more. But for now, it's like, yeah, that's enough. And so
it's the time period that you're in. So you honor the time period that you're in.
Yeah, and that's about being present, right? It's not about being in my head and saying I should do this and I should do that. No, it's like, this is where I am right now.
That's what I've been telling like my clients that are entrepreneurs that are here to be doing their impact, and we're in this like, oh God, it's the first of the year and I should have this and this and this, and it's like, it's okay. It's like, that's just like some made up calendar that's not really correct, and there's several calendars out there. And it's okay. You don't have to be be in your own natural flow, and what that is for yourself.
I love that. Be in your own natural flow. That's our closing statement for today. Be in your own natural flow. Right? Yeah. Forget about the shoulda, woulda, coulda, what everybody else is doing, and no, be in your flow. And you can only find that when you're like actually tapped into who you are in your heart space. Take a few deep breaths, be in your heart space, and saying, okay, I'm going to be in my natural flow. What does that look like? And allow it to show you. Okay, good. Awesome. Great. Thank you, Kimberly. Great way to start off the new year.
That's right. Thank you. Bless you and all of yours.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. All right, everyone. So until next time, may you continue to be blessed with an abundance of joy, peace, love, happiness, prosperity, and radiant health. Sending you all much love and blessings always.
Thank you for being the gift to humanity that you are.
Bye for now, everyone.
Bye.